Hello and welcome. Even though Marshadow was data mined right when the game came out, it was just recently officially announced. I still haven't seen it, so I figured I would go ahead and attempt to guess draw what it looks like. And a lot of Pokemon have names that are two words mashed together, like Stantler is stag and antler, so I think this is probably another one of those. Marshadow can go in a couple of different ways though. Maybe it's a shadowy monster from a marsh, but I think it's probably going in a different direction. And by now you can probably guess which direction I've gone with that. The people at the Pokemon Company have been making a lot of Pokemon that are trying to be super cute and lovable, but they decided to go a different direction with this one. They have very few fluffy Pokemon like Snorlax and Hariyama, so they decided they needed some more of those Pokemon to appeal to a larger audience. No pun intended whenever I started that sentence, but it eventually, it caught me in the middle of it. This one is also actually a fighting type, along with Ghost, so it's definitely got to be a big boy, because you don't see any little squatty... Squatty? That's not the word. Scrawny is the word I meant to use. Scrawny little fighting types. And it's actually the first, I think, Ghost fighting type that there is, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna make his hand a little bigger here. He needs to be able to get a good grip on all those Pokemon he's gonna wrestle. And you know, they'll never be able to grip him. Even though he has a lot of places where you could just get a good grip on him, he doesn't have a real body, because he's just an ethereal ghost boy. You know, he would probably do pretty well in that fighting type Grand Prix thing. The one in the anime never really made sense to me because they allowed ground and rock type Pokemons into it. And I don't understand why you would ever want to enter a rock-type Pokemon into that competition, because they're very vulnerable to both ground and fighting types. Maybe it's because Graveler looks like a sumo wrestler made of rocks or something, I don't know. Sometimes talking about Pokemon this much makes me feel like a little more of a nerd than I already am. It's like there's something in the back of my mind that society has drilled into me, saying, it's not okay for a grown man to like a kid's thing this much. I mean, it's not something I really take too seriously. I guess in Sun and Moon I did try IV and EV training, but I got really bored of it pretty quickly. It started to feel really grindy. And I guess I typically have a pretty short attention span to things. Like, I still haven't beat Fallout 4, even though that's something I found to be actually quite fun. I don't know. Sometimes I'm worried that I might actually have ADHD, especially how off-topic I'll get in conversations, and then later I'll try to come back and get even more distracted. I need to move his arm up so it'll make more sense when compared to the other one. His shoulders are in the same place. It almost looks like he's trying to do a dog shadow puppet with his right hand. Maybe that's one of the reasons he has shadow in his name. He's just really good at making shadow puppets with his hands. He can reform his doughiness in any way that he wants to. And wow, that hand is just so wonky. I'll fix it later, probably. But he needs to have some big ol' legs so that he can hold up this body. He's starting to look a little bit like the Michelin Tire Man. I guess there were a lot of similarities between the completely original Nintendo character and the Michelin Tire Man. I wonder if that's where they got the design from, or if someone just said, hey, let's stuff a bunch of marshmallows together and see what happens. I don't like the way his head shape is. It's actually been bothering me the whole time, but I was trying to not fix it and not go back and forth between things. And whenever I try to fix stuff, a lot of the time it actually makes it look slightly worse. You know, he probably has something a bit more indicative of him being a ghost. Instead of these doughboy legs, he's probably got some ethereal trailing, with plenty of ectoplasm falling off of them. And as I get distracted for the millionth time, I'm gonna go back to his face. He's gotta have some nice, round, friendly eyes, some poofy cheeks, and a big, welcoming smile. There he is. He's just a big, happy boy that wants to give you a hug. But this face up here is actually not his real face, hiding in his chest-belly area. Invisible until just before he is able to make his final blow. There's a face with triangle-y eyes that indicates it's more sinister. This Pokemon has a lot in common with Mimikyu. It has a facade drawn onto the external of it that hides a more sinister internal thing. This one also has a big smile, but it's not because it's trying to welcome you in, it's because it's about to eat you or something, I don't know. But he does have a big tongue, so that his lick attack will be much more effective. And he probably has some teeth, easier to grind you up as you're going down. You know what? Marshadow is actually just a haunter that ate way too many marshmallows, or I guess ate and absorbed way too many marshmallows. But in doing so, he became a more powerful, mythical Pokemon. I'll turn these legs into more of a ghost trail later, but for now I've spent way too much time on them. I think he needs a little bit more fluffiness in his face, so I'll give him that double chin action going on. And I think he is almost fully baked. But there is still one thing missing. There definitely needs to be something on top of his head. Something like maybe a hat. But it's not a real hat. It's kind of like Greninja's gross scarf that's actually his tongue. I don't see how that's even possible. His tongue must have been so dry all the time. Alright, let's pull this guy up and see how I did. Oh, well, you know, I colored it all in before I went and looked at him, and I didn't realize that his feet actually did trail off like that. That's pretty funny. He does have sort of a hat thing going on. I did miss the scarf, which, if you haven't guessed by now, this is the Stay Puft guy with Haunter in his chest. But I didn't realize, or if I would have drawn the scarf thing on him, I could have got even closer. I don't know, he's a little cute looking child thing. Probably has some sort of creepy Pokedex entry, of course. He is one of those squatty fighters, as I said. Scrawny looking fighters, though. Alright, well, that's Marshadow for you. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it helps me out. Also, leave a comment below with suggestions on what I should draw. If you want to watch more of this stuff, there are 2 videos on the screen. The YouTube AI overlords think you'll like the one on the right. And if you haven't already, click the circular cartoon face to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.